Ho ho ho, no you did not, Jeff Marek. No, you did not just say that, because today we are diving into yet another name that we have been bringing up quite a bit throughout the course of the past few weeks. It's been kind of ridiculous just how much pull this guy seems to have when it comes to NHL trade speculation and discussion. Because today, we are heading back over to the Nashville Predators and talking about a guy who is an absolute legend. In 2010's hockey, this guy was one of the best, and I think a lot of folks would go out there and say his career is one that we would all envy to have. Today we're talking about Steven Stamkos, and I'll pump this guy's tires up as much as we can because, yeah, it's true. Stammer hasn't really been doing all too well with the Nashville Predators. We've been talking about this a bunch over the past few days here, but Stamkos went from a very consistent 40-goal, 80-point guy with the Tampa Bay Lightning to 53 points in 82 games last year. Not bad, all things considered, to only scoring 2 points in 13 games this year. It's been quite obvious that not only has the fit not been good for Stammer, but it just seems like his level of engagement is not where it was at when he was playing with the Lightning all those years ago. And I say all those years ago, it was just 2 seasons ago. 2 seasons can change a lot for somebody who is already 35 years old and who is making $8 million a year like Stamkos is till the end of 2028. But the fact is, now that he has been struggling, we have started to see folks around NHL broadcast media discussing where Stammer could go next. Now, we've gone over a bunch of destinations that have been written about and mentioned: Vancouver, Carolina, Toronto, LA. But now you had Jeff Marek going out there on Schaefer and Price the other day, saying this: I wonder about the Canucks, and I could wonder now that Patrik Laine is out, I could wonder about the Canadiens too. Something probably has to give here. And my immediate instinct when I saw that, I was like, oh, of course, we're going to start linking guys that are supposedly going to be traded to Montreal, because that's what everybody does. But thinking about that point a little bit more, you know, honestly, I actually don't think it's a bad idea. And maybe that is just me speaking with the idealistic version of these hockey players in my brain. I said the same thing about Vancouver after all. It's all going to depend on if a guy like Steven Stamkos can go over to a new team and find himself a fit. Because he hasn't been doing that in Nashville. Now, Marek also does say on his Schaefer and Price hit that, yeah, life away from Point and Kucherov is very different, and it's probably a lot worse going from playing with those guys to playing with whomever it is the Nashville Predators have. No disrespect, of course, to those same Predators players. But I'm also thinking about this here, like, hey, if Montreal were to think about Steven Stamkos, who's making $8 million a year, Laine is making $8.7 million a year. Difference is, Laine's contract expires this season. Stammer goes on till 28. If you wanted to say that the Montreal Canadiens could essentially get a guy like Stamkos and put him in the same role that Laine had last year, does that not sound like an actually productive idea? I mean, assuming Stammer is able to actually get his game back and vibe with the Canadiens and learn how to play with a guy like Suzuki or Demidov or Hudson feeding him pucks on the man advantage, like, everything that Patrik Laine was, Steven Stamkos can do too, right? Right-handed shot, post him up on the left side in the power play, let him unleash OV-bomb one-timers on goal, and score some goals. He did 27 goals last year. That's a lot. He's only got 1 this season so far, but is that more an indictment against Stamkos or more of a representation of just how bad the Nashville Predators have been? Who knows? Maybe it's both. Maybe Stamkos just needs a little bit of that reinvigoration into his life, and he'll be able to start potting in goals. This is why the Stammer trade discourse is so interesting to me, because it's like, yeah, We know this guy is talented. We know he has what it takes. He's a 60-time goal scorer in the National Hockey League. Consistent 80-point guy for so many years despite the health complications and him getting older. And now he's gone from all that to 2 points. Is that his fault? Is he just washed in the same way that Austin Matthews is? Has something fundamentally changed at 35 years old that has totally eliminated his NHL effectiveness? I mean, the guy captained the Tampa Bay Lightning team that won their first Stanley Cup in 2020, and he didn't even play. He had 1 shift in the finals, and he scored a goal. He's legendary, this Steven Stamkos, and maybe I'm just letting the nostalgia talk. Nostalgia of stuff that he was able to do like 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. But now, Jeff Marek going out there and mentioning Montreal as a potential destination. I'm not saying necessarily that you have to have both of these guys on your team. But I do wonder if there is a Patrik Laine trade to be made. Is that something that either team actually considers? Like, Stamkos for Laine? Marek is just saying that because Laine is out, it could incite the Montreal Canadiens to get a guy like Stamkos who can essentially play the same role. But if you were to trade these guys for each other, does that make sense? Does Nashville want to get a bigger look with Patty Laine? We know they've had success with Finnish players in the past. Now, I know most of them happen to have been goalies, but you still have some other guys. Granlund was a Predator for a while. Eric Howell is over there. Joakim Kemmel is doing some pretty good work in the AHL right now. So there's a lot of connection, I think, that the Predators could give to Patrik Laine. And also, like, obviously the city is hockey crazy. They love it over there in Nashville. Good vibes, good energy. The crowd will embrace this guy. But also, I don't know if the pressure is necessarily the same in Nashville as it is in Montreal, for example. Not saying that Habs fans have been too harsh on Laine. I'm just saying that now he's in a spot where things are getting a little bit tough, especially with his health. And I don't know if Patrik Laine is in a spot where he can just be put onto this Canadiens team and do what it is that he needs to do if he's able to mentally handle that. Because now, the Montreal Canadiens, I don't know if you noticed, they have a lot of expectations on their shoulders. They're doing pretty well. Folks are expecting this team to be a playoff team. Wasn't like that last year. They just played and they had results and Laine was able to do his thing and it looked pretty good. But now, it's like, yeah, if you're not producing or if you're not available, things are going to be a little bit more difficult for you. So I wonder if that is going to be an element that emphasizes this entire situation with Patrik Laine with his health and whether or not he's actually an option for this Montreal team heading into the next few months when he comes back. Is there a trade to be made? I don't know. Stamkos to Montreal, if he's able to get back up to speed, that's great. But of course, you know, you could say the same thing about Laine. Oh, if he's able to get back up to speed, then he'll be fine. But so far, out of what we've seen out of Laine, I'd honestly say it's more difficult to give him the benefit of the doubt than it is for Stamkos, because Stammer is an NHL legend. He has a much longer body of work that has been productive than Laine. But hey, that's up to you. You can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about Jeff Marek's quandary and his idea of Patrik Laine being replaced by Steven Stamkos in Montreal? Is this an idea that makes sense? You can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit the like button. If you didn't, the dislike button's down there for you as well. Comments help out with the algorithm, so I'd appreciate that. I hope you enjoyed this video. 99 and bye.